You guys are seeing this title, right? Yeah, I had to come react to this. Not like crazy like I would to most people, but we have to just correct some stuff here. According to Lady Decade, she says the new Black Myth Wukong release proves the Xbox lied to us. What? I thought it would be a reverse effect, right? That Sony had the money, had and made the deal. What's the first thing that she says right here at the beginning of this video? Yeah.
Black Myth Wukong just proved that Xbox lied to us this week.
Right. What would Microsoft have to lie about if they're not getting a port? And they knew there was a deal in place. No, it would only make sense for somebody to try to hide it. But it's crazy that she's coming out and the first thing she says that Microsoft lied. How did Microsoft lie? It doesn't make any sense. They said they don't want to negotiate or talk about deals made by other partners. Sony has the Chinese Hero Project. I proved that in the video that I made. What's also interesting too is that 1 year was up, right? So you had August 20th and then it's right here the next 1 year following. You see what I'm saying? Turk did plenty of videos on that, guys. I have it right here. 4,400 views 7 months ago. I've been covering this. Black Myth Wukong can run fine on Xbox. PC tests prove ponies wrong. Game science lied. Sony shade, right? 7 months ago. I did all my Black Myth video Wukongs were good that I did, and I shared Turk's work and some of them as well. That right here is the one I did with him. Dev proves Black Myth Wukong can run on Series S fine. PlayStation fanboys got owned and attack him. 3,500 views. There's a lot of other Wukong videos too, but that's just to show you, you guys could go take a look at that and see for yourself. You know what I mean? That what she's saying doesn't make any sense after we get past a certain thing, after a while. You know what I mean? And there's people that I've tagged. I'm just sharing it. It doesn't have to mean anything negative unless you feel guilty about something. You know what I mean? Because I didn't say anything when I shared it. I just shared it. I don't understand why that's a big deal because I feel like somebody got offended and it's like, what, isn't that what I've always done? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's kind of weird, but okay. Just saying some people are subconscious sometimes. This comes up in different ways. It's like, okay, that's kind of a change. Now, the interesting thing is what she continues to say after we get to a certain point. We're going to get to 350 after this because there's some advertisements and all this other stuff.
Big Black Myth Wukong has finally arrived on Xbox almost exactly 1 year after the game took the world by storm on PlayStation 5 and PC. Now, let me be clear, this isn't just some belated happy ending for Xbox players. No, this long-delayed release is proof that Microsoft have spent the last year lying to us about why the game wasn't here in the first place.
How can they spend the last year lying to you? They said one statement, that's it, not continuously saying anything. No, that was it. You know what I mean? And then the community made up all whatever the hell they wanted to make up. And I just came in and tried to bring people the truth and share what Turk said. And we got to the heart of the truth of it. And that's it. And it was done, right? And then there was an update they released yesterday. See, this is why I stay up to date because then stuff like this comes out. You're going to have to let people know that this is not the case. Go take a look at stuff over there.
That's right, for 12 long months we were fed stories, half-truths and convenient denials. It was barefaced. Xbox executives swore blind that the delay wasn't about their hardware, while journalists regurgitated rumours of shadowy exclusivity deals with Sony. Meanwhile, what really made this situation sting was that the actual developers were desperately trying to explain the truth, that Microsoft's own strategy, and in particular their deliberately underpowered budget console, the Series S, was the real obstacle all along. So today we're going to unpack how...
Just like I said in my other videos, dude, there's nothing that annoys me more than blaming the hardware that is capable of running games that are more demanding and consistently does it, and GTA 6 is coming, and you're still not realizing that it's the Unreal Engine 5 and that the developer also, who's also not a master in the industry, but that was like their first big game, and they were all on PC. They don't do console. Yeah, even the PS5 performance was not acceptable. The game at launch was not acceptable. Unreal Engine 5 has done this to everything. It's not just Unreal Engine 5, but it's also them being new as well, too. Yeah, some of that could be some sort of facts, but that's not what was the point. You had some people mocking the Series S like they were trying to mock the Switch 2 with this fake Elden Ring gameplay recently. Then I had to show them that that was fake. Go look at the real gameplay. and that could have been some old build. But it's not the final thing that's you're getting. That's what we want to talk about. But during the process, you could work to update things, but find out all the information first and don't jump the gun. But people do this type of stuff all the time. But I still just cannot believe that like she's doing this spin, kind of like a female pony, right? They exist, trust me. That Microsoft, this is all because Microsoft's trying to hide that their underpowered potato console can't run Series S. It's holding everything back. It's the same thing again, you know what I mean? And I'm like, no, if that was the case, the developer would have just said, I don't want to develop for it. That's not happening because the Series S is too weak. They never said that. They said they're learning. You know what I mean? Because they're also Chinese. It's an American product, dude. They don't code for the Series S, AMD. They're coding for PCs in China. So I can understand that, but that's not, even if he was telling the truth, that's not why we were disturbed by that. That actually makes sense because, like I said, the game was not finished and it's Unreal Engine 5. And you expect me to think it to be perfect? Come on, man, that's unreasonable. We all can say, oh, yeah, man, that makes sense. You know what I mean? But blaming something that is not the problem also will not help fix the problem. It's stupid to blame the Series S when it's the engine, which is Unreal Engine 5, that comes from Epic, and the developer that are new making a deal with Sony for the Chinese Hero project. That's all the things that's happening. Whereas they could have gave the equal treatment to try to optimize it, but they didn't because Sony had priority. And then they made so much money that they don't need to do that again. So it could go multi-platform. You see what I mean? But they wanted that big thing for Wukong doing that first entrance. This was their first mark into the industry like that. So Sony got priority. PlayStation sold in China. And that wasn't fully optimized either because a lot of people were saying, man, wait on a pro patch. This is rough. It was. It was rough on my PC. So, no, the whole game just needed that in general.
How Black Myth Wukong exposes Xbox's biggest weakness. Because this wasn't just an ordinary delay, it serves as a case study in spin, damage control, and a platform falling further behind its rivals with every passing year. While
it's fine because the Switch is going to dominate. See, that's why I said just bring up Nintendo. I'm like, well, it's a hybrid though. I'm not trying to compare it to a dot console in that sense, but what I mean is like developers are not going to skip that. And the problem with people like that, because they don't understand that actually all the stuff you have is okay. The problem is that the industry is being cheap and they're using AI and they're taking shortcuts and they're selling you stuff at full price that they didn't fully optimize. And then they tell you you need this to max out right at that current state. But you don't even need even nowhere even close to that. But if you did that, then they can't release a new card every year and then every 2 years. You see all that type of stuff. I seen one post that Fritz said, and I was like, oh, you know what? He's 100% correct because I've been telling people that for a while. You have everything you actually need. It's actually fine. No. It's done on purpose. Trust me. The shortcuts in business with the AI, that's why it shows up. Yeah, you have the specs you need. The Pro is plenty. PS5 is fine. Switch 2 is fine for what it can do. Definitely if they get frame generation. They're just beta testing, unfinished generation, mass profit, jack up the price.
Xbox's audience keeps shrinking, Steam's player base just keeps ballooning. And speaking of
NVIDIA is the most ridiculous, you know what I mean? They'll price the hell out of you and do AI upscaling, and still you wouldn't need nowhere near that, but they still want to sell that to you for that price. They are the worst because they could be better, and they have the talent, but they choose not to.
Actually playing games, why on earth
so that's my problem
would you still play full price when the good stuff is going for pockets change? You can grab 40% off Black Myth Wukong itself, 24%.
This is what she's doing her advertising. So we're going to get back to something very important again, what she says right here. This is where we continue, yo. It's about right there. Yeah.
24 before the game even launched. Developer Game Science gave what seemed at the time to be a perfectly reasonable explanation. They announced that the Xbox version was delayed because they were still working on optimization. Their official statement read, "We are currently optimizing the Xbox version to meet our quality standards. We apologize for the delay and aim to minimize the wait for Xbox users." Fair enough, right?
Well, that could have been true, but the Sony money hat was there too, so they weren't prioritizing it. That's what I'm saying. You could say that, but you also could just not be talking about the deal. Which, look, man, yeah, it's right there. A whole entire year. Remember he said it could take years? That's not adding up. You want me to say that he's a liar because of that? Or did he just exaggerate? He did say that, the guy. No, it would take years. You know what I mean? They do what they do. That's right on the money. What we talking about here? Even if we did, you see what I mean? It's right there. It's like, and even trying to prioritize, like I said, PlayStation 5, it ran like meh. The game was not a good game at launch, optimized. Took them a while to get it to run decently. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, now it's running pretty good. Wu-Chang ran better than that. And like I said, on PC, it had problems too. So I don't know what she's talking about. Nothing was up to standard quality when it comes to full optimization, but it was a good game. And Unreal Engine 5 didn't help. I could guarantee you, if they did Unreal Engine 4, the game would be fine. You could be able to do 4K 120 and it still would look good. I would have rather took that.
At least that's what everyone thought at the time. Xbox players wouldn't get the game on day one, but they'd get it soon once it had been polished up properly. But a huge catch would soon be revealed that would expose why Xbox users would not be getting this game anytime soon. The truth appeared to be that optimization on Xbox doesn't just mean tweaking a few settings and calling it a day. This is because Microsoft's parity rules, which means that every game released for the platform has to run on both the Series X and
There's so many devices now. This is what you do now. You just have a different PC setting. Scale it down. If you start down first, you'll know how to do the other ones easier. That's all it means. You're just going to have to give me 2 PC settings. This is my lower end. This is my, higher end. It's not anything new, but they try to overbloat that. They'll use this against Nintendo too. Trust me, it gets annoying after a while.
Series S. Developers aren't allowed to release a game on one without making sure it also works on the other, and that's where the real problem started for Black Myth Wukong on the all-American consoles. On paper,
what? And it's insane that she never mentioned Unreal Engine 5. No issues with it. Unreal Engine 5 is fine, guys. Their development optimization is fine. It's all the Series S. What a pony female.
but the Series X is a beast. 12 teraflops of GPU power, native 4K gaming, and 1 terabyte SSD, and a disk drive for physical media. It was sold as a premium option, the console for the hardcore player who wanted the absolute best. The Series S, on the other hand, was marketed as the budget-friendly, digital-only alternative. It runs at 4 teraflops, targets 1440p instead of 4K, and ships with a pitiful 512GB SSD.
We know that.
Both consoles share the same library, but the S version is always scaled back. That might sound manageable for most games, but when you're trying to bring over a title as visually demanding as Black Myth Wukong, that little white box...
It's the Unreal Engine 5. It's more demanding games are going to be coming. And watch GTA. What are you going to say? You see what I mean?
It becomes a bloody ball and chain. And it wasn't just Wukong. Remember the Baldur's Gate 3 debacle? That game launched everywhere except Xbox because Larian Studios couldn't get split-screen co-op to run properly on the Series S. In the end, in that game's case, Xbox had to...
They're spinning that shit. See, this is why if you're not going to talk about... If you want to talk about video games, you got to know what you're talking about. Winter Page, there's a lot of other stuff off of that.
Make a humiliating exception to its own parity policy just to get the game released. So Wukong wasn't an isolated problem, it was a part of a pattern. Game Science's own CEO Feng Ji admitted as much in January 2025, writing on Weibo that 10GB shared memory, I can't really get it without a few years of optimization experience.
So it's insane that she reads that and it's out directly the next year like it was a 1-year contract. Clue right in front of her face. But why are you highlighting about few years? Do you not know what few years means? It's now 2025 and it launched on 2024, August 20th. So why is she talking about a few years, guys? Why even put that up? That basically just backfires against her. It doesn't make any sense. And we could pretty much cover this right here. But you know what? Let's finish off a little bit. Let's finish this off just a little bit more. I'm pretty sure you guys probably just want to see a little bit more. Today, guys, I tell you, let's keep going.
In other words, the Series S simply didn't have the resources to handle a game of this scale, at least not without major consequences. And if you don't want to take the developer's words for it, Digital Foundry put this theory to the test. They simulated how Black Myth Wukong might perform on the Series.
Oh, no. Okay, look, like I said, see, go look at the updated stuff that Turk did. You can go to his page at the Turk, or you could just go to my page and look at it. There should be a link in there. Either or, you'd be able to see it there, but it's ridiculous that people are still spending this. Why not just let it go? It's out, and it was out the bag. Crazy. Let me know what you guys think about this. Like, comment, subscribe. All right, y'all, peace out. Have a great day. Ponies, sit down.